Welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast, where we talk about all things money, mindset and business with real life stories and real life people. Let's get into the episode. Hi and welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business Start again. Hi and welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. Today we're talking to Birgit, who is going to talk to us all about writing and the joy of words. So Birgit, please introduce yourself.
Hello, thanks for having me. Thanks for listening. Indeed, I'm Birgit. I'm originally from Estonia, but I've lived in Scotland for 4 years now. I'm a writer, a ghostwriter, and a writing coach for people who need writing, but necessarily don't like it. So
I can attest to that completely.
So I'm not teaching how you can become an author, although if you wish to, that is, up to you. But I love working with people who feel like they don't have time for writing, or they're not creative enough, or they don't know how to start. They feel like they get stuck all the time. And writing, why is it important, in that context and money and mindset? Because a lot of those issues that are writing related are affecting your business as well. And, all those thoughts about who you are and who you're not and what your relationship is with writing are in your head as well, like other thoughts. So I always say to my students who attend my classes that successful writing means that you can get your thoughts onto paper. That's it. That is a successful writing. Then, because that is the writing process, what you do with those words on that paper is already editing. That is a different story.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm a numbers person, so English writing, grammar, spelling is definitely not where my strengths are. And like the conversation we had before we started recording, I was saying to you that getting over that fear of pushing myself out that as I am, which is not perfect, has been a massive, I would say it's been a massive hurdle to get over, but it's been such a relief to remove that stress of worrying how you're going to be perceived by other people when you're writing, say, your social media content, your blog writing content, or email content and all that sort of stuff. So I'd love to know what got you into writing, what got you into wanting to be a ghostwriter and do writing for a living.
I've worked in different professions in my life. I'd say maybe 10 at least. But throughout all those experiences, if you look backwards, I never analyzed it when I did those things. I remember always preferring tasks that were writing related. I started working as a tour guide when I was 17, and I really enjoyed, writing down the stories that I heard and creating my own written material about the things that I read, what I want to share with people. So I think it has always come naturally to me. And when in uni, I always enjoyed that writing bit. So people were using my materials to study for exams. I've been a journalist for over 13 years. So I think I'm been naturally drawn to stories and writing and transforming those stories that people are sharing me into something that can be read, and can be read in a way that, that person who I've been interviewing is saying those things. That is a very common feedback. And I wrote speeches at some point, and then the feedback was, it's like I had been written it myself. It was like, But I never thought of it, or saw that as the source of, or the main source of income. Even when my mom told me, you should just open your own business and offer it as a service, I was like, I'm not a numbers person. There's a reason why I write books, don't do books. So I was like, oh, I don't like paperwork. Oh no, accounting. No, no, no. So I always rejected that idea back in Estonia. And then I moved to Scotland 3 months before the global lockdown. And then my back was against the wall. So I had to do something, and that something was launching my own business. So easy to come to a foreign country and do all the paperwork and accounting in a business environment you're clueless about, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? I was actually gonna ask you the question of what do you think about numbers? Because from my experience with chatting with many business owners, you are either words or numbers. Very rarely do you get someone who is confident and in love with both.
Like I've been good at maths at school, so I can't say I'm bad at this. My mom's a math teacher, so
Yeah.
you know, from home, school, I never hated math. There were things that I didn't understand, like the likability theory kind of bits. You know, those exercises where you've got blue balls and red balls, and then if you take you know, 4 balls out of that bag, what is the likability that the 4th ball is going to be blue? And then depending on the question, you know, you had to use one formula for one and the other for other. So this was the moment I was like, I could play lottery and be more successful than executing these tasks. So that was the bit of math I didn't understand, but everything else, it was just doable. So I just did it. And I quite enjoyed doing those things. But I think when it comes to doing my business books, I think what is more is that responsibility that it comes with those numbers. And, you know, I feel like because these are by law and I want to do things right, then I think it's that fear of doing something wrong. Not so much about, you know, I don't know how to do, because my accountant is superb. She created me a beautiful spreadsheet. I asked her, just create me a spreadsheet for dummies, and you know, just make sure that you put there everything I need to put. So that is my cash flow kind of things. Because just to make things even more complicated, I'm a creative, but I've got still bank accounts and earnings coming in from Estonia, and then I've got 2 bank accounts here. So I'm not doing books for just one account, but for 4. So I've got statements that I need to put in. Also, I need to just take papers from the Estonian tax and customs that I've paid taxes for some of the things there. Let's say if I've been hired, or just, you know, it is.
You're one of those complicated people.
Yeah, because boring, you know, easy is just too boring, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's all good. And I like to see that there's a business owner that's actually taking the responsibility for their business finances, because that's what I hear a lot. Is a lot of them don't take that responsibility and awareness of it. So that's you're a tick in my book, definitely. So let's talk more about your business. So you launched it out of lockdown, which I think a lot of businesses got launched out of lockdown. How did you find it? Obviously, being in a completely different country, launching your business, and what was that journey like to where you are today?
For the I think that the fact that I didn't know and that I didn't have any previous business experience was somehow helpful, because when you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know what to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So I took things as they were, and I think what also helped was that things were so weird. And you're right, a lot of businesses started during lockdown, but a lot of people who started their businesses during lockdown have gone back to full-time work and
Yeah.
closed their businesses. So, and the fact that the things were all online, it was new to everyone. I think that kind of uncertainty really, put me to the to the same playing ground and to the same level. So everyone was kind of like, oh, how are we going to do that? Um, I took some online classes through Business Gateway. Local Business Gateway was a huge help when just starting out. They had some business studies about writing as an industry, so that gave me a bit of courage as well to launch. I got my first customer 3 weeks after I started.
Wow, that's awesome.
And in October 2020, I started working with my first international customer. So 6 months after launching, I could say I have an international business.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
So yeah, for those who don't know what ghostwriting is, it's not writing about ghosts.
Yeah, it's a good thing to clarify. I'm aware what ghostwriting is, but could you imagine
I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
Haven't heard the phrase. So yeah, share what ghostwriting is and what the process is around being a ghostwriter.
Why ghostwriting even, could be beneficial for entrepreneurs is, firstly, if you reach to a certain stage in your business where you'll feel like, oh, I know this or I know that, and especially when you start teaching others, then it means that you have specialized knowledge. Secondly, sometimes you've had life-changing stories. Like myself, I've been almost dead for 4 times in my life. I could just, share those stories. How when you're afraid to live, then you're given an opportunity to die. Not that I learned from those experiences, I needed something else, but that's probably another hour of conversations. But ghostwriting is when you don't have time or desire to write those things down, but you would like to have this story or business knowledge written. So I write business books, which are all those how to do this, how to do that, or memoirs, which is not your whole life, but I can't talk about all the customers I've worked with, but because I wrote a foreword to that book, I can mention that, is there was a lady that was my first international customer. She was in her 30s, was going through a divorce, and then had a stroke. And then 2 weeks after being in the hospital, she left the hospital and healed herself by herself.
Yeah.
So I helped I helped her write that story, and so I'm the ghost behind the writing, but she is the author. So this is what ghostwriting is. Let's say, Leah, you've got an amazing life story, which I'm sure you have, and or some business experience that you would like to share around money and mindset. Then having this, either an ebook or a physical book, not only increases your credibility, because now you're not just someone who talks about it, but actually has a written proof that you are an expert. So that increases your credibility. Secondly, is a lot of people want to leave a legacy behind. So a book is a forum to do that. Third is it's a good marketing tool.
I agree. There's many books behind me that I've actually been given by the authors.
Yeah. So, and let's say you read that, oh, I want to know more about what she has or they have written or what else they are doing. And not just as a guest, but also when, they buy on Amazon, or if you want to do like a short one, they download it on your website. It can become a lead, and around that book you can create talks. I have written this book, would you like me to come and talk about this topic? And charging from the talk and using the book as a promotion material. So there are many ways that it can work for you, and so the ghostwriter can help you with that, just to get that thing written.
Yeah, I love it.
And then as I mentioned, the writing workshops for people who like to put out more human written content.
Explain human written content for people who are listening to us today. What does human written content mean, and what are the benefits of it?
So what does it mean is that it at least looks like that is written by a human. I'm fully aware that AI is hugely popular, and I think it's a great learning curve how to market a product that it will go viral.
Yeah.
So I think that is the main thing we should be, focusing, how the marketing process went. Why this ChatGPT became more popular than others that have been in the market for 10 years, because copywriters have used AI tools for over 10 years. There are many that are being used. So I'm aware that people are using it a lot, and it's just not me, but also a lot of other entrepreneurs I talk to and my customers, that they are recognizing, they instantly feel that this is not written by a human, and how it makes us feel, because I've been thinking about it. Why is it that we want a human written content? Why is it so important to us that we would read something that is written by another human being? I think it makes us feel important enough that someone has actually taken the time to think about us and to create something for us, rather than just seeing us something. So the natural need for human connection.
Yeah.
Not human to robot connection, but human to human connection. And writing is a form of communication. I know that a lot of marketing experts are emphasizing the importance of consistency, and consistency over quality. I disagree with that. I think quality is more important than just putting something out there.
Yeah.
Because quality is something that brings people to read that. Consistency without quality is good for bots.
Yes.
But as far as I know, most of the businesses are still serving humans.
Yeah.
So when you're putting out robotic content, then my question is, who is it that you're really serving? Are you serving the algorithms? Are you trusting them to bring your content, or are you trusting you to bring you customers who you think are divine to work with and who think about the same thing about you? So again, that human connection comes into place. So if you overcome that fear of putting you into that writing, which is the key to create that connection, then your chances of being, the one that gets noticed, who stands out with their content, are bigger than ever. You
Yeah.
are standing out from the crowd because you are caring enough about yourself, your business, but also your customers.
I think this is definitely an interesting topic because of obviously there's ChatGPT and there's AI add-ons to everything now. I'm finding it on every single platform I'm using. There's an AI add-on. You can even do an AI generated LinkedIn headline now. And what you've just said there is what I'm hearing is by adding you into your content with your voice, your personality, your terms of reference, and everything that you use, you are making yourself stand out because of who you are. And that is the selling point of you being your business. I mean, because you could be in a lineup of, say, 10 other ghostwriters or copywriters.
Yeah.
You are. And whoever's looking for a copywriter, if say 5 of them have used AI and they generate their content, which they wouldn't as copywriters, but you know what I mean, their content out there would be very similar, very robotic, very structured in a way to say the right words. Whereas you've
Yeah,
got
the buzzwords are there, because you know, maybe it's good to clarify. So there are two things people keep being confused about. So one is copyright and the other is copywriting.
yes, copyright is a legal term.
Yes. So that is your ownership. That, you know, means
Yeah.
that this, what you've written, is your intellectual property. Copywriting is a form of business writing that is persuasive, and that it's, you know, it is often seen as the money maker of the business, but it's just one of the there are almost 30 styles of copywriting, like different structures.
Yeah.
And then, but what happens when you use just one form of conversations? Because as we said, writing is one form of communication. It's a written form of communication. So persuasive writing, the main issue with that, it is one-sided. It is supposed to give you the feeling that you are understood, but it usually doesn't start the conversation because it tells you what to do.
Yeah.
If you constantly read posts that are telling you what to do, how does it make you feel?
But I don't want to do it. I don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So because it makes us feel like we are wrong, like we're not good enough, like we're stupid. And I don't know anyone who likes being wrong, stupid, and not good enough.
Yeah.
So there are 3 other styles that you should be using, like storytelling, explaining, and so the 4th one, my brain's going between Estonian and English just now. So descriptive, explaining, persuasive was the copywriting, and the 4th one was, I can't remember now. I've got a black hole. I can't remember the words in either of the languages, which is so embarrassing. But
Well,
hey,
it'll come back as and when
yes.
we carry on talking. So.
And so combining those 4 styles is how you create that conversation.
Yeah.
So I see marketing as, you know, there are 4 pillars. First, you need to spark the curiosity. Then you can create that connection. Then comes the conversation, and then comes conversion.
Yeah.
So what people are hoping when they're just relying on AI or copywriting is that they hope that this post will create curiosity and conversion. Most of the cases, it doesn't work like that.
No, I think what I've kind of seen is people love stories. They love
Yeah.
this is an issue that I've had, that somebody I know's had, and then we go along the journey with through the story of this is what happened, this is what I did, and this was the outcome. And that you take people along with you with the storytelling. And I think that is probably one of the most powerful pieces of content you can do, is to tell a story. In my eyes, anyway. I love telling stories.
Yes. So the storytelling is the style that is called a narrative.
Yeah.
So the fourth one I didn't remember was expository. So persuasive, which is copywriting, narrative, which is storytelling, descriptive, which is used in when you're describing something, and expository is the fourth one that you can use, let's say, when there are like official documents, you need to make sure that this is very clear.
Yes, like
It's
contract.
very neutral. Yes, yes. So they're not even just contract, but it sometimes is necessary just to make sure, oh, this is the deal. Like, let's say because marketing is just not social media.
No.
It's not just newsletters. Marketing just involves so much. Like even simple letters or emails that you're sending out with offers, or just confirming the deal. So you need to be clear. And the second thing is what I found out that causes that fear of, oh, is it good enough? Is people are afraid that they have to use a very professional language. And often it is perceived that professional language means professional vocabulary. But this might work against you, and especially if you're not working with industry professionals from your field.
Yeah.
Most of the times when I've seen a lot of branding workshops that are advertised with professional vocabulary, and they're aimed for beginners. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, there is no way people who have just started their business and had zero understanding what branding is know these words.
Yeah.
So when you're writing, really think about that. Do they understand these words? Are they even using it? What is the language they are speaking? And I'm not talking here about Estonian or English.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just to be clear, but I'm talking about, their daily conversations. What is important to them?
Yeah, it's very, very true. I mean, my career profession was accountancy, and there's a lot of jargon in accountancy. And from the very beginning of me being an entrepreneur, and I had my accountancy practice to begin with, I didn't use jargon. Because if you start throwing things like net profit, gross profit, and assets, liabilities at people, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Because they don't understand that professional accountancy language. And so I never used it. If I was talking to another finance professional, I would, because they understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that goes for every single profession, because there will be profession-specific words that are only really understood by the profession.
Yes.
And say, like with the copywriting, with marketing, with branding, if you are trying to reach those beginners, it's really useful to speak their language. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody starting out and go out there and what are you looking for? What do you need specifically to market that?
Yeah, I agree. Often when people are starting, sharing their own experience and start teaching what they've learned along the way, then the best advice I've heard and I always pass on is think of your customer as yourself when you started that journey.
Yeah.
But I can't apply to that, because I've never been in a position where I'm afraid to write.
Yeah.
So it is a bit tricky sometimes to put myself into the shoes of people who are afraid of it. But I think it's just that, when they come to those physical workshops or even the Zoom room, and the shoulders are down, like they're so insecure, even looking to the camera, in case they have courage to put it on. And then 60 minutes later, I'm buzzing with ideas. Oh my God, I just didn't know that I can write so much. So that, and then, in physical workshop, when they walk out, it's like they've got their back straight, they've got a smile on their face. I'm like, oh, this is so worth it. Like, this is so worth it. It just makes all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I completely see it. And I'm a very visual person, so as you were talking, I'm seeing people there who essentially are turning themselves into the fetal position because they're uncomfortable. They're outside of their comfort zone. They're pushing what they think that they can actually achieve, and then through your workshops, you're giving them confidence. You're allowing them to see parts of themselves that were there but were hidden away through fear. And they go out thinking, actually, I can attack the world with my
Yes, empowered. And there is another thing about writing. Why is it useful? A couple of people have written about it. So one of the things was, I think it was Stephen Bartlett who said that every entrepreneur should once a week lock themselves into the quiet room and write with a pen and paper until their fingertips are bleeding. And there are a lot of studies about the difference between using the keyboard and actual pen. So the emotional connection with when you're using a pen and paper is actually stronger when using a keyboard. And what writing does with your thinking is that it makes you slow down. If you feel that your life is so busy, and when you start writing, then your thoughts go faster than your fingers, then writing with pen and paper is exactly what you need to do, because it slows your thinking down and you can focus.
It makes sense.
And the second thing is, I don't know exactly where you're located or when anyone, but if you can imagine any ocean or even just the sea.
I'm in the middle of England.
So
the sea is about 2 hours away, but I've got a canal.
Okay.
At the back of the house.
Canal works as well. So if I were to ask you, bring me a bit of that canal to Aberdeen when you come to visit me, so I could see it, I could touch it, I could smell it. How would you do that?
I don't want to smell it. It smells awful.
Well, I want to smell how awful it is. So how would you do that?
I'd have to do it in writing and a picture.
No, not necessarily, because I can't smell that writing.
Yeah.
But like in a physical form, how would you bring it in a physical form?
Stagnant water. There you go.
So you would contain it. You would use a jar or a bottle and you would put something into that. And then you contain it. And then you can bring it over. This is exactly what writing does with your thoughts. It can take your thoughts and then you can literally face them.
To be fair, I do a lot of writing therapy with myself. when I'm feeling those over emotions of life. My space to reflect is in my bed. So I go to my bed and I get my journal out. I rip a page out and I write on that ripped out page. Because most of the time, once I've got the thoughts out of my head, I don't want to keep it anymore. If I'm doing it from a therapy point of view, I would generally get rid of it because I'm like, right, the thoughts are out of my head. I don't feel or think or believe that anymore, and it's gone. I don't want it in my life anymore. And I actually did that last week. So
Writing,
it's very powerful.
it is, and writing as a form of changing the self-talk, what you can and can't, is also one of the most powerful ways to change, but only if you're friends with writing. Because if you hate writing, and some people have expressed that this is what they feel about this, then you put so much emotion into that activity that it doesn't give you those results.
Yeah.
But it might help if you really have huge negative feelings about writing, then just take a pen and a paper. So my feelings, thoughts about writing are, and then you just go, and I can guarantee you 3 minutes later, you are way calmer because you see, I've written so much in 3 minutes. Usually people are surprised how much they can write in 2 or 3 minutes. You know, just one of the main excuses people using AI to write their social media posts is that I don't have time for writing. And then they just, use that prompt, and then they just think I'll just tweak that a bit. But recently, a few of my customers have come up to me, Birgit, you just, you changed my life completely. I found out that I'm actually faster writing my social media posts on my own than to use that AI that I have trained for months now to write like me, and I still have to redo everything that it produces me. So I find it is quicker if I write my own post by myself and not using AI. Like, hallelujah. And I'm thinking that your customers like it too.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So as a copywriter, as a ghostwriter, as a lover of all things writing, what are your top tips for listeners who are here today who are in that mindset of, I struggle with writing. I hate writing. I really struggle to use my voice on social media. I use my voice on anything that I'm creating. What are your top tips for them that they can take away and implement into their lives today?
So there are a couple that you can use. So first thing is just to keep in mind that I briefly mentioned them before, is one thing is writing and the other thing is editing. So to practice writing, then this is like that free writing flow, or however you want to call it, is like that brainstorming phase when you say yes to every single idea. When you decide that every idea that comes to my mind, every thought that comes to my mind is good. So you write everything down without questioning anything, without thinking, oh, that's weird. So just giving any judging good or bad about that thought. You just write everything down. And why is it good to give yourself like 2 or 3 minutes? Because then you have that time pressure. Deadlines are super inspiring. And you can set yourself a 2-minute deadline, because then you feel, I don't have time for editing. I need to write to get something written. And then you can start editing it. Why is it important to write first and edit later? So that is the top tip, not just for writers, but any people, is write it first, edit later. Because what happens when we're writing, then there's one part of our brain working, the creative part. And when we're editing, then there's another part of our brain working, which is analyzing and structuring. So imagine yourself riding a bike or driving a car and trying to put at speed and brake at the same time. It's not a very effective way to, reach the destination, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the second thing is, once you've written it and you start editing, then use simple language. We already mentioned, just write the way you would actually speak to people. Use I and we instead of our organization, our business, because it sounds, more personal. And don't be afraid to add your emotions or, perspective about things to show you, because people buy people. It's just, you might have a very good service or a product, but if your communication around it doesn't even spark curiosity, then there's no conversion.
Yeah.
So put your voice into that writing. And before you post anything or send out, read it out loud. Because then you can literally hear if something's off. And you can even notice some grammar mistakes. And, talking about AI, we've got AI to check grammar. So if you're insecure about your grammar, like, me being a bilingual, I often hesitate. Oh, how is this? Should there be this or that? Or maybe that word is better. So there are so many, as you said, those add-ons that you can put, I'll check my grammar, whether it's Grammarly language tool or anything else. Even Microsoft Word has their grammar check. So you can just use those. And the benefit of having those web browser add-ons is that even when you write comments to someone, you can add that, there just to check your grammar. And, these are just those 4 or 5 simple tips. And if you feel like you need help, then ask help.
Yeah.
If you liked what you heard today, I welcome you to my workshops. I've got them publicly online available as well.
All of these links will be in the show notes.
Yeah, so or if there is someone else you feel comfortable or you feel aligned to, because this is really important, learn from someone who you feel like, oh, they either get you or you really like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is a bonus tip. Read the things you want to write. So if you want to write better social media posts, then read more social media posts. And start taking notes. What is it that you like about it? Why do you like that post? Or why don't you like this one? What is it that puts you off? Try to understand yourself, because no one else can tell you which is a good one for you and which is not. And you don't have to copy those posts, but by taking notes what you like and don't like, you can develop your own style. You can understand, oh, I would like to write this more, I would like to like that more. And just reading out loud, it can make all the difference.
That's actually a very good tip, because many a times when I've written an email or a post and I've not read it before clicking submit or send, and then I've read it and I'm like, oh, that doesn't even make sense. But I think a lot of my followers have come to just know that about me, that oftentimes I don't make any sense.
Well, it's a proofreader's joke that I often proofread my posts after I pressed sned.
Snent. I love it. I love it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to chat to me today, Birgit. It's been so inspirational to hear your passion for writing and supporting people with their writing. I've really had a wonderful afternoon talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. And just as a closing comment, you know, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur because there are so many times when you hesitate. Is this what I should be doing? And I can relate to that. When I started teaching, then one of the thoughts in my head was that who am I to teach about writing for people who are native English speakers? And I'm not. And then I said, I'm that person who can teach about creativity and writing because as native speakers, they might have forgotten that playfulness and they are too attached to their structures. And I can bring that playfulness back into their writing language. So turn that around in your head.
I love that.
Believe in yourself. Don't dim the lights that warms you.
I love it. Brilliant, Chloe.